Hi, my name is Cynthia Holt, and I'm a fisheries biologist with Texas Parks and Wildlife, and I'm here today to talk to you about electrofishing, which is one of the primary sampling methods that we use for Texas Parks and Wildlife. The mission of Texas Parks and Wildlife, the Inland Fisheries Division specifically, is to manage the fisheries resources for the enjoyment of current and future generations. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to walk you guys through our electrofishing boat, kind of describe the way that various parts of that boat work and let you know how electrofishing is conducted. I'm here with my colleague Nick Griffin.
Hi, I'm Nick.
And he's going to give you a tour of the electrofishing boat as I describe the different areas of the electrofishing boat. So we're going to start. We have the gas-powered generator that provides the current to the pulsator box. The pulsator box provides a direct pulsed current. We fish at 60 pulses per second. That current travels down some conduit cable down the length of the boat through the booms. The center of the boom has a stainless steel cable that runs down the center. It's surrounded by fiberglass because fiberglass does not conduct electricity. Once it reaches the end of that boom, the electricity travels down a stainless steel array, which, as you can see, kind of looks like a spider. We then drop that into the water. Once the generator is cranked and the power is coming through the box into the cables, the arrays the electrodes go down into the water. And it's actually controlled by a foot pedal. There is a pedal that's plugged in at the front of the boat. When the person with the dip net presses that pedal down, electricity travels through the arrays into the water. When their foot comes off the pedal, the electricity stops. That's one of the safety measures that we have in an electrofishing boat. That current can travel about 6 feet in front of the boat, to the sides of the boat, and beneath the boat. So you really don't want to electrofish in any depths deeper than 7 or 8 feet because you're not going to be able to reach the fish. Electrofishing is a completely safe method for the fish. There's been tons of studies done. We know exactly how much electricity to put in the water so that it's not harmful, but it does allow us to catch a lot of fish really quickly, which makes it more efficient than your standard hook and line fishing. From there, when the fish come into the current, very similar to us, they have electric impulses that run through their muscles. Once they feel that electrical current, a condition called electrotaxis actually pulls them into the current. So whether they want to or not, they're coming into that current. And then once they get there, they go into what's called narcosis. So they're stunned. They basically pass out and they float to the surface. Then the people on the front of the boat are using what we call dip nets. The nets have a fiberglass handle, so it's completely safe for them to put the net into the water, and then they scoop up the fish that are stunned and floating on the surface. From there, we'll put the fish into a tank of water on the boat. We have put a little bit of rock salt into that water because the salt helps keep the fish calm, and it also prevents infection because, of course, although we do the best we can to not disrupt that mucus layer that's on the outside of their body, sometimes that happens, so the salt helps prevent infection. From there, we will identify the fish that we've seen. We will measure them on the measuring board, mouth closed, tail pinched, and then we'll weigh them. So we measure in in millimeters or inches, and then we weigh in grams, and then the fish is released alive right back near where it was collected. I've already mentioned that we have the fiberglass on the booms and we have the fiberglass net poles. We also wear rubber-soled boots. We also always wear a life vest. Whenever you're on a boat, you have to wear a life vest. And we also use electrical, like lineman's gloves. That's what we use whenever you're the person netting the fish, so that, again, if something goes wrong, you cannot get shocked. With the boat itself, that's our ground. So as long as we are in the boat, we can touch the side of the boat, we can touch the bottom of the boat, we're perfectly safe. You cannot reach outside the boat and touch the water. That's when it becomes unsafe. That's when you've broken that current. We are actually out here starting to electrofish, and the reason that we electrofish is it allows us to catch a lot of fish in a very short amount of time, much faster than hook and line, although hook and line is definitely much more fun. So we're out here to target our black basses, largemouth bass, spotted bass, and smallmouth bass. That's what would be available in this particular water body. We also target their forage species, which is gizzard shad, threadfin shad, and then various species of sunfish. We target those specifically because that allows us to know what fish are out here, what the bass can eat, and once we actually collect the fish, we will measure them and weigh them, and that allows us to know for the bass if they're recruiting to the fishery, if they're nice and healthy and plump, and if there's enough forage out here for them to eat. The way electrofishing works is we'll turn on the generator, we'll have the electricity running. It goes about 6 feet out in front of the boat, around the boat, and then beneath the boat. So as long as we're in the boat and we're not touching the water, we're perfectly safe. When we're fishing, as the electrical current moves through the water and the boat's moving through the water, fish have electrical impulses in their muscles the same way we do. So as that field gets near them, it will draw those fish into the electrical field. That's called electrotaxis. It's where the electrical current in their muscles line up with the electrical field that's in the water. Once that happens, they go into a condition called narcosis, which is when they stun. So they'll stun, they'll get on their side, float to the surface. Nicholas or whoever's on the front of the boat can use the fiberglass handled dip net, dip them out of the net nice and safely. It's not harmful to the fish. We fisheries biologists have done a ton of research to figure out what amount of electricity we can put in the water to where it doesn't hurt the fish when we do this. The fish go into a tank here on the boat. It's got a little bit of rock salt in it because that prevents infection for the fish, and it also helps reduce their stress level. Once they're weighed and measured, they're released alive and they swim off real quick and easy. They don't even know what happened.
All right, welcome to Electrofishing Series. We're gonna work up the fish. We'll make sure to get our measuring board wet, as long as our weigh boat. Helps with their slime coat. Remember, we got the salt in there. Help with skin infections and things like that. and we're going to show you how to weigh and measure the fish. Here we have a nice largemouth bass. Want to make sure to have their all the way up to the end, mouth closed, tail pinched, and yell out to the data collector 345 in millimeters. We're going to weigh them in grams, put them in the scale, 512, and let them go. Here we have another nice largemouth. Mouth closed, tail pinched, 247, 192. All right, and we're looking for our black basses, largemouth, smallmouth, spotted bass, and then their forage, sunfish and gizzard shad. And with their forage, we're just going to do an inch class. So they get too big, they won't be available to eat for the largemouth, and so we're just going to do an inch class on them. Here we have a red-eared sunfish, inch class, 5 inches. Let him go. Bluegill, all the way up to the end, tail pinched, 4 inches. With this nice red ear here, it won't cooperate. It's an 8-incher. Got this net, help me get them out of there. Another largemouth. 237. 186. Bluegill. 5-incher. So I have a couple more here. Another bluegill. 5-incher. Another bluegill. 5-incher. One left. The last one's always the hardest to get. Bluegill. 5-incher. Whenever you're calling out, you always want to know what species you're handling so the data recorder knows which species to put it under. That's it.